in a matter of seconds, these are the questions I kind of ask myself. Is it going to make me look bad in front of my family, my immediate family or in my extended? Is this something that I can show my kids? Is this something I can do with or for my kids? Is this something I can do with or for my wife? And if any of those answers are no, it's an immediate, I'm not doing it. That's number one. Two, don't get me wrong. Money is very important. There's a lot of things in this world we cannot do without money. I'm not arguing that fact at all. However, I think a lot of people let money rule their life instead of them ruling money. They go out and chase money instead of letting the money chase them.
Buy Black Podcast, episode 25. How to build profitable professional relationships that will help you grow your business the right way. Welcome to Buy Black, the only podcast dedicated to helping you find, connect with, and support Black-owned businesses. We're on a mission to bring consumers and business owners together to ignite the global Black economy. I'm your host, Gerald Jones, and if you're a Black business owner or a socially conscious consumer, you've joined the right community. Ready? Let's get to work. Hey guys, thanks for joining me for episode 25 of Buy Black Podcast. Before we get into today's show, we have a new 5-star review that I want to share with you guys. This one comes from the Apple Store for our standalone app that is out there for you folks with iPhones and iPads. So this comes from DNick1982. 5 stars. Gerald is providing our community with a very much needed resource. Many talk about uplifting our community economically, strictly from a theoretical standpoint. However, this show provides its audience with actual action items that allow for long-term, tangible results. This show absolutely fills a much-needed void in our community. Hey, DNick1982, thank you for being out there, listening to the show, downloading the app, and I encourage you and everybody else, hey, continue to tell people about the show, continue to leave us these 5-star reviews. Once you get into the app, you see how everything works and how easy it is to get access to this information, and hopefully it continues to be high quality for you. So thanks for being out there. For today's show, I sat down with DJay Reace out of New York City, and we talked. Well, you'll hear it once we get into the show. This is the second time that we sat down. My audio recorder messed up last time, and we had some gold, and it got lost in the sauce. So we had to come back together, do it again. Luckily, he was very patient and allowed me the time to sit down and interview him again. And we struck gold 2 times in a row. So you guys get into this show. It is all about how you can use a service attitude in order to grow a professional network and actually, no matter what industry you're in, build a circle around you that is going to help you be successful. So we won't waste any more time. Let's get right into it. All right. Hey guys, welcome back to Buy Black, your only podcast dedicated to helping you find and connect with Black-owned businesses. Today, for the second time, yes, the second time, not that you guys have heard, but the second time we've recorded, I am with my man, DJay Reace, and he is going to talk to us today about his role and his job as a mobile DJ, and specifically, he's going to teach us how you, in whatever industry it is that you're in, can build a loyal client base and peer networking base that can help you grow your business. So thank you for joining me again today, Jay. How are you doing?
Oh, I am doing well. Blessed as always. Not because everything is going well. I try to figure out that every day is not a good day, but there's always some good in the day. So that's just my philosophy. But thank you for having me back again.
Yeah. Well, thank you for coming back. I may tell the folks a little bit later on just about how I messed everything up. But right now, I want to hand it right on over to you, and we're just going to jump straight in, man. Tell us a little bit about your background.
Oh, yeah, sure. Yeah, I come from a broken home. I have no lies to tell. My family was middle class poor. I was one generation away from poverty. My mother and my father, they divorced literally the day I was born. I bounced back and forth from home to home, like my mother to my father, back to my mother, back to my father. They both were military, so we moved a lot. So I got to see the world, got to experience different types of people, and both my parents, they love me the best that they could, because in reality, in the grand scheme of life, they really know how to love. Kind of different issues from all kind of different stuff. Just wow, just looking back at my past. Wow, don't know if I want to get that personal, but just a lot of issues. Anybody want to hit me up later? I'll be more than happy to have it. But for this, I just want to say that growing up was like hard. I always had to try to find my identity because I was moving around so much. I always tried to be who everybody else wanted me to be, and I found that if I was funny, I would get people's attention. So that led me to always trying to be a person who sought attention. And I realized that I was good at being an entertainer and just trying to captivate people to get their attention. So for a while, I was an actor. So if you look hard enough, you can find me in all kind of like background work and even some mainstream stuff, film, television, student films. Like I said, you name it, I've probably been in it. But one thing that's never left my heart was helping people in music. Even as an actor, one of the things that got me ready for a scene was listening to music, not going over my lines, not talking to people, just listening to music to just help me get in that zone of where I needed to be. I remember there's software that I have that I use to produce music. I can spend, days just trying to produce a song, and that's my happy place. And I love it. I was doing the acting thing, and the money wasn't coming in as fast as I needed. I'm a husband and I'm a father, and I needed to support my family. So I took a corporate gig, which the corporate gig, it paid nice. It was good, but it just wasn't for me. The stress level, I'm not that type of person. Like I need windows. I need to be able to be in the sunshine. I need creative outlet, and I was just feeling stifled. So after conversating with my wife, we decided it was best for my family to go back and try to figure out what makes me happy and what will help out the family. So after that, we decided that for me to go back to my music love. Once I did that, I looked at all my mentors in the music industry and other places that I want to be in life. And I realized a lot of the people that I aspired to be started out as producers or DJs. So I was like, okay, I like music. I produce songs. I might be able to mix a little bit. So I watched a couple YouTube videos. I bought me a little, small little controller, and a few, listeners don't know what a controller is. It's just a way to manipulate the music, that you attach to a certain type of software. But, I got the controller. I was trying to DJ, and I realized I could not DJ. I could not at all. So, being somewhat of an intelligent person, I was like, you know what? I need help. I need to find some type of school or counseling, a mentor or something. So luckily I found the Scratch DJ Academy, which was founded by, Jam Master Jay of Run DMC, God rest his soul. Just to get, I believe he started it to get inner city kids a better place, or a place where they don't have to be where their environment is. So the school there is a very loving environment. I can sing its praises all day long, but I went to school there and I learned how to DJ, to mix. I became an open format DJ, which again, the listeners aren't sure what that is. That is a DJ who plays any and everything. I could be doing a set and I can go from hip hop to rock to classical to instrumental, just anywhere I feel like going, or particularly where the client wants me to go, because that's also important too. The client likes hip hop, chances are they might not want me to play classical.
Yeah.
So.
Or they might be able to deal with classical, but don't come in with the country.
Oh, I know, right? Exactly. So I did that, and then, being a family man, I really didn't want to be in clubs too much. So I was like, well, you know what? Let me get this show on the road. Let me just be a mobile DJ, which means like I usually have my equipment with me, and I go wherever my client is or wherever the party is for the most part. So I grab all my gear and I go. I always show up early. I have a meeting, even before that, I meet with my clients. I find out what all of their needs are. As soon as we sit down, it isn't the Jay show. It's okay. What do you expect from me, and what kind of event would you like to have? That's the kind of questions that I ask to get to know my client, not because that I'm trying to just make them think that I care, because I really do care. My job is always to do the best I can do, and I can't do the best if I don't know what the client wants, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely.
I bring a small portfolio with me, and I tell my clients that I have caterers, photographers, you name it. I probably have that kind of a network in my disposal, because I want to make sure I can provide the best service for my clients. And if I feel like I can't do the job, which, don't get me wrong, I tend to be very cocky every so often, but if I try to keep it cocky humble, you know? So, I try to, make sure that if I can't do it, that I always have a DJ that I can recommend that's either as good as me or as better than me. So that way the client always leaves my meeting having somebody. And I find that if I put myself in a service mindset of trying to make sure the client is happy and I'm serving them, everything else takes care of itself. Like, there's jobs that I didn't get, but a few of my photographer friends that I recommended, they got, or the caterer friends that I have, they got the gig. It's just, I'm in the business of helping people. That's just the way my mindset is, and it always works for me. It pays off. I may not be able to see it in the beginning, but by the end of it all, it always comes back. What's the phrase? Pay it forward. Yeah. That's kind of my mindset.
So real quick, that last thing that you just said really jumped out at me, because you hear some people say it, but I think the way that you explain it and the way that it ties into the way that you run your business is really important. You just said, I'm in the business of helping people. You are, obviously, you're doing the mobile DJ thing. You have a love of music. You're really good at doing that. But you said you're in the business of helping people. And to me, that ties directly into your tagline, which I'm going to go ahead and steal it from you right now. I'll be the one to say it. Tagline is where motivation, inspiration, and music meet. Talk to me a little bit about that tagline and how'd you come up with it, and how does that play into the things that you just explained to us, how you go about providing this service to people?
Yeah, when I was a kid, grown-ups used to say I had an old spirit. I don't know if many people have heard that phrase before, but that just means sometimes that you're either wiser than your years, or you just tend to have a viewpoint that's different than other people. And I've always had a different viewpoint than most people. So growing up, I was always in situations where I was able to help people. Not that I've never needed help or got help from people, but I've always found myself in situations where I was fortunate enough to go out and help people, either just with advice, time, money, or whatever the case may be. I was just able to help people. And through my life, I've always noticed I'm being watched. And I don't know if anyone can relate to that, but I could have a comment, like, case in point. I recently turned vegan about 7 months ago. It's not something I talk about a lot, just because it's my diet. Like, if someone says they're a meat eater, everyone's like, okay. So, like, I try not to make a big deal that I'm a vegan, but people find out that I'm vegan. So one of my close friends, he wasn't, how do I say this? Like, he's a healthy guy, but he doesn't eat as healthy as he probably should. So, like, I'm a vegan and I don't stress about it. I don't rub it in anybody's face. I don't sit here and be like, oh, well, you shouldn't eat that. Like, I don't. I eat my meals. I do what I gotta do, and I don't make any headway, or make any waves about it. So, to fast forward or make my point, a couple months after me being vegan, my friend comes up to me and he's like, hey, Jay, you know what? I noticed what you've been doing, and I'm gonna start eating healthier. So I look at him, I'm like, what? Yeah, man. Like, I mean, I'm not going vegan, but you know what? Maybe I should start eating more healthy than I do. And from that conversation, or not that, just that conversation, but it's conversation like that I consistently have, that I realize that everybody in this world is being watched, and people are going to judge you no matter what you do. So my philosophy is like, if I am trying to put myself in a leadership position, or if I'm trying to put myself in a place where I can help people, I have to realize that people need my help even when I don't even know they need it. So I have to consistently hold myself at a standard that's realistic, but at the same time, it's expecting more out of myself than I think anybody else wants to expect, because I try to be very mindful of what I do, when I do, and how I say almost everything. And I think a lot of people tend to forget that, because again, like, I have two small children, and I realize I could talk to blue in the face and tell them, you need to clean your room, take out the trash, be a good person. But if they don't see daddy doing it, they might be, out of fear, they might do it every so often, but for longevity, they're not going to do it because they didn't see the model doing it. And that's just how I look at my whole life. So when it goes to my business or mentoring or helping people, I just try to be me and help people, because I realize the only way to truly help people is to show them the way, not tell them the way. Not that I'm perfect and not that my way is the right way, but I feel it probably is the better of the ways. A lot of people.
Yeah, and I think I get what you're saying. It's not that you're saying people have to do it your way, but what you're really talking about is the way that you do your way, right? There's an ethical guideline to the way that you go about doing things, and people are going to do things their own way, but there's a heart that goes with it, right? If your heart is always in the right place with the things you do, that's what people see, right? You're like with the vegan thing. If you were, a vegan priest, and you were constantly trying to hit your friend up with, you need to eat better, you need to eat better, you need to eat better, there's absolutely no way that he would have come to you a few months down the line and said, you know what? I think I'm gonna eat a little bit better, right? Yeah,
of course not.
But your heart just said, this is something that's right for me. I love you wherever you at. And then he was just looking. He was able to see I think the good that it was probably doing in your life, in your health, just to live that way, and seeing the improvement that you were getting out of it made him say, I want to follow in his footsteps. Yeah, I'm right there with you on that. Kind of off to the side, you talked earlier about seeing things, as a kid and following them. I won't take too much time on this, but it just made me think about my dad, man. When so my dad passed 10 years ago, but when I was a kid, we lived in a small house, 2 bedroom, 1 bathroom house, in what some would try to call a hood. I mean, I didn't feel like it was the hood, but I didn't find out until I was an adult that I was living in the hood. This is like right next door to one of the blood gangs. And so I don't know if you ever saw this as a kid. HBO did a special called Gangs Banging in Little Rock. It came out around the time I was like 10, 11 years old. And so one of the gangs that they featured on that special was literally a block and a half away from my house. I had no idea. My parents, I just thought we lived in a decent middle class neighborhood because my parents didn't make it seem that way. But I said all that kind of off subject to my point was we had a dirt yard, right? And I mean, it was like that hard, dry, no nutrients dirt. And I swear every year my dad wanted grass so bad. He wanted to have a lawn, right? He wanted to give his family a lawn. Every year he would go out there and sprinkle those grass seeds and they would shoot up for like 2 seconds. He would go out, try to mow the lawn, do all this stuff. We never had a lawn. It was crazy. But now as an adult, like that's a main thing of mine is like, I look at a house that I want to buy, I want my family to live in. I'm like, what does the lawn look like? Like, am I going to have to grow this grass or is this something I can go out here and cut? Now I hate cutting the yard, but I have that in my head of a man gives his family a house with a yard and you cut the grass. It's just it's crazy, man. The craziest things. I didn't mean to take us off topic, but what I want to do is I want to go deeper on the specifics of how you provide that service. So the main thing that I want you to come on and teach our folks today is about how they can go in whatever industry they're in and build what I would call a client base. But you know what? I kind of want to change the terminology. I really want to, especially using the words that you just did, I want to change it to an audience, because I think our audience works whether you are working in a business that somebody else owns, or whether you're working in your own business, or whatever it is. If you can build an audience around you based on service, based on how much you give to them, that can really set you up for whatever industry you're in. And the way that you were explaining it a few minutes ago, obviously you have your clients that you work with, but you also have peer networks and near industry networks of people who are constantly watching you, and you're watching out for them. And it's like you never have to worry about having the folks around you who are going to feed you and who you can feed. So I want you to give us some in-depth about how do you go about that process? How do you build those relationships with people such that you know that they're watching you and they know that they're watching you, and you guys are watching out for each other and kind of growing together?
I was speaking to a mentor, I think this was like months ago, and I was considering going into a partnership with an acquaintance of mine. And I just asked my mentor, I was just like, I've always heard the term that you don't do business with friends. Do you find that true? Because I'm thinking about starting this partnership. So as some mentors do, he took a minute and he was like, look, let me explain this to you this way. When you work a job and you have coworkers and you've been on the job for, I don't know, a couple months, do you really know them that well? Well, no, not really. Okay, good. So after a couple years, do you start knowing about their family, their likes, their dislikes? Do you start knowing them? Yeah. Okay. Do you start being friendly with them? Well, of course. They're coworkers and you want it to be a comfortable work environment. Right. So this whole thing about not working with your friends or keeping friends out of business isn't a very good ideology. Think about it this way. If you have a friend who's your buddy, your pal, you go and you watch like different sports shows, different, whatever you're into, you go and you hang out with that person. But you know, when you're sitting there working on your business, your friend is still sitting on the couch. You know this. Would you want to go into business with that person?
No.
Well, no, of course not. Exactly, right? So that's what you have to look at. If you have someone in your life that you've observed them showing the characteristics that you admire or that you want to have, and in their business, you feel it's a good business, then yeah, you can have a partnership with that person because you know that person at the end of the day is going to do business. You guys might not agree on everything, but you're going to be able to do business with that person. Unlike if you just get into business with someone because they're your friend. You know, so that's just the kind of the way that I look at almost all of my relationships. So a lot of the people that are in my network, they're people that I've watched for years. Not in a creepy way, but I just watched them for years. So it's just people that I knew. And once I learned that, oh, they were a photographer, they owned a restaurant, we started having those business conversations in our friendship. Case in point, there's some friends of mine that they own a restaurant. So we worked it out that every so often I do parties there. If they decide to throw a birthday party, they make sure that I'm the DJ, assuming that I'm available. And you start having these conversations with people and you feel people out. Like, I wish I could give an exact science or an exact formula of how it should be, but my gut is my best determining factor of anything. Like, if it don't feel right in my gut, I just don't do it. Any decision that I've done that was influenced by somebody else that I knew I shouldn't have done, that's the ones I regret. So when it comes to like working with people, if I'm not feeling it in my gut, I just don't work with, or at least I don't work with them very long. So I just think it's like, you just have to know people. And sometimes knowing someone, you really don't know them until after working with them for a short basis. And only the listeners or you can decide what that short term truly is. But that's just kind of how I've figured it out for myself. That's what
So
works for me.
let me ask this question about your gut, because some people, when they go to their gut, it's based on, do I have a gut feeling that this thing is going to make me money? Some people, when they go to their gut, it's, do I have a gut feeling that this person is going to stab me in the back? And some people, when they go to their gut, which I think is where you are, is, you know, is this something that's going to make me feel bad about myself later? So when you go to your gut, what is it that drives your feelings on things like that? What's that motivator that you're trying to either accomplish or avoid when you're trusting your gut?
I think there's several internal questions that I ask myself, and trust me, guys out there listening, the ladies, I'm not having a dialogue inside my head, so I'm not crazy. But in a matter of seconds, these are the questions I kind of ask myself. Is it going to make me look bad in front of my family, my immediate family or my extended? Is this something that I can show my kids? Is this something I can do with or for my kids? Is this something I can do with or for my wife? And if any of those answers are no, it's an immediate, I'm not doing it. That's number one. Two, don't get me wrong, money is very important. There's a lot of things in this world we cannot do without money. I'm not arguing that fact at all. However, I think a lot of people let money rule their life instead of them ruling money. They go out and chase money instead of letting the money chase them. And I never ask myself, is this going to make money? Sometimes I ask myself, is this going to bring me more of an audience? I'll ask that question, but I never ask myself, is this going to bring me money? Because at the end of the day, money does not help me sleep. Money might have provided the things that help me sleep, but money doesn't make me go to sleep. Me being a moral person helps me sleep at night. And I know everybody's not like that. Some people are all about the money, and that's fine. But I feel if you truly want to have longevity in any business that you want, you have to decide where your ethics are and what you're comfortable with. And at the end of the day, you should be able to say to yourself, you know what? I felt good.
Yeah, absolutely. I like that. So if you don't mind, I'm going to jump onto that real quick, because that same mentality that you have is what has carried me through a lot of my career. Even I can go back almost 20 years to when I was in the Marine Corps and finally, you know, had the opportunity to lead people. Everything that I did not know this until I had a commander who told it to me, but everything that I did because I love my Marines, right? I can remember when I got promoted to corporal from Lance Corporal, and my commander at the time, Major Coward, he was a major. He was a really small dude. Like, I mean, he might have been 5'5", maybe, and very, very slim guy, but he was terrifying. Because infantry Marines are like that. Doesn't matter how big or small they are. They just give you this look like, I could end your life now. I mean, I won't, but just understand that, right? But as I'm getting promoted, Major Coward, he's pinning on my rank, and he said, you know, right about now is when I would be giving you this speech about what I expect from you as an NCO, what I expect from you as a corporal, and how you should treat your Marines. But I'm not going to say any of that, because you lead with your heart. He's like, I don't need to say anything to you because you love your Marines and you lead from your heart, and that will never take you in the wrong direction. And then he just walked off to the next person. And I was like, that was probably the biggest compliment he could have given me, but it's exactly what you said. If you're always doing things thinking about, is this something that will make my mom proud, right? Is this something that will make my dad proud, or my kids or my wife proud? The way that I'm behaving in this situation, if that is your guiding light, if that's where your gut is drawing its energy, then your interactions with people are going to inherently go in a positive direction. Now, you're going to run across people that, you know, you'll cross them and they'll cross you, and everybody's motivations are different. But when that's your guiding light, then even when those frustrating situations come, you know what to do in them, because you got to make the decision that says, which behavior will I have in this situation that would make my family proud, that would make me able to go to sleep at night. And, that one thing has saved me in a lot of situations throughout my career where my brain said, get them. Right. but then the gut says, you know what? If you don't get them, eventually they will get what's coming to them, and you just be faithful.
Yeah. And if I can interject real quick. And I don't want anyone to ever think that it's easy, because it's not. Because trust me, there are a lot of events that I could be doing. There are a lot of clubs I could be in, and I just don't, because I don't want to have that image on me ever. And I think as business people, you have to always draw that line of, how am I going to look to the people who are under me? How am I going to look to the people that I'm serving? And it sometimes it's not easy. I so wish there was an actual rule book on this, but it's not an easy thing. Having morals and having ethics is not an easy thing. So I don't want anyone to think that we're up here preaching like how easy it is, because it's not. I'm sure you can tell stories. I have so many different stories, but there are just, case in point, like, honestly, like a quick background of me. I used to bounce in a strip club because, again, I was trying to bring money in to my family. And before I really figured out what I was trying to do, that's what I did. I bounced in the strip club, and in there, I don't judge anybody who goes in there. I don't go in those kind of places because that's not my thing. That's not my scene. But I needed the money. But very quickly, I had to leave from there because it just wasn't a good environment for me. And it wasn't a light that I wanted my kids. I mean, one day my kids will know, but I didn't want my kids to be like, Daddy works at a strip club, like I personally didn't want that. But the guy who owns this strip club, he knows I'm a DJ. And, strip clubs, some DJs get famous working in a strip club or whatever the case may be. And for lack of time, like, I don't want to belabor this point, but he'd offer me quite a grip of money to start DJing in his strip club. And honestly, I had to think about it a little bit, but again, that's not what I wanted on my resume per se. Some people, they're fine with that, and that's cool. You got to do what you got to do to get to where you want to get to within reason. And that wasn't a place I could go. So that was one of the decisions that I personally know was hard for me. And some people might be like, well, that's not a hard decision. But for me, it was, because I was looking at money and I was looking at my image. And sometimes for some people, the money rules out. Luckily for me, in that particular instance, it did not. Because honestly, right now, I might have told you this before, I have a lot of my clients, they tend to be family-friendly organizations. I do a lot of different festivals and stuff like that. So I don't know if I would have that now if I had did a strip club back then. Or maybe something different would have happened if I would have took a strip club gig. I just know for me, that wasn't someplace I could go.
Just kept you on the track that you could work with. So there's something we talked about last time, and you mentioned it shortly today, but we can't get out of here at all without having a conversation about being humble cocky. So we talked a little bit earlier about how you build that audience around you. But last time we talked, we spent a good deal of time about the nuance of it, right? About the energy that you send out to people that draws them into you, even when it seems like you're not trying. And it's this saying that you have of being humble cocky. So I'm gonna hand it over to you. Tell us what being humble cocky is about.
Sure. No problem. But hold on. First, I gotta say,
Cocky humble. Oh, I'm so sorry, sir. My deepest apologies. Aggressive.
So cocky humble is just something that I tend to say, and I tell my kids all the time. You got to learn to be cocky humble. You got to be able to walk into a room and just be confident that you deserve to be in that room. Not that you're better than anybody, but that you deserve to be there. And a lot of times that takes you going into a room or different rooms a couple of different times. Like, it's a muscle that you build of learning how to be confident. The first time you go in, you might be a little shy, but you break out that comfort zone and start talking to people. And before you know it, you're confident and you're owning the room and you're cocky. But at the same time, you got to be able to keep it humble. And I believe last time I gave an example of, like, a lot of times where I do these festivals or I do these events, and if I see someone else needs help setting up or they just need help in general, I go and I help out. Like, my time, I'm there. If I got the time, I make the time. And I just go and I do my thing and I help people set up. I don't travel with the entourage, at least not yet. So I just go and I do setup. And once everything's set up and it's time to go, I get on that stage and I rock it. Like, I've prepared all my stuff beforehand. I know what I'm doing. I'm feeling the crowd. I see the crowd. I'm feeling the energy, and it's a wonderful time. And then once I get back off the stage, I break my stuff down. Anybody else needs help, I go and I help them break their stuff down. And I think anybody in any type of business, any type of leadership position, I dare I say, you don't even have to be in a leadership position. If you are in a position where you can help others, that's just you being humble and showing that we're all human. Everybody has that opportunity to go out and help somebody else. Small things you could do. Like, I'm blessed enough to walk my son to school every morning. It's a little cold. I live in New York, so it's a little cold right now. So we haven't been walking as much. We've been driving. But I have to still walk him to the door. And funny enough, I want to say about 3 months ago, I noticed when I take him to school and walk him up to the door, nobody really smiles. No one really says anything. And I know it's early in the morning. Not a lot of people are morning people. But one of the things I started doing was just simply, hi, how you doing? How you doing? Like, not a long conversation, just walking past, hi. And now, dude, everybody at the school is saying hi in the morning. It's like the weirdest thing. And it's just those little things that makes the day that much better, because you realize you're helping others. And I wasn't really doing it to get gratification, but I was just doing it because, one, I felt like no one was noticing each other. Like, we were just going by as if we're not family. Like, everybody, in my personal opinion, everybody in this universe is family. There are no strangers. You might not quite know them yet, but no one is strangers. So I feel like if they truly are my family, I should be able to walk past anybody and say hi. I don't have to have a conversation with you. I don't have to go in deep philosophical conversation. But the least I can do is show you respect as a human and just say hi.
And little small things like that really they make a huge difference in the way that people perceive you, but it also changes the way people perceive each other. I think we talked last time, we're going to have to get together and have this conversation about energy and how the energy that you transfer into one person, feeds the rest of the world. So, we could go deep down into that one.
I'm telling you, man.
The thing that I want to ask you now, and again, I lost my train of thought because I do that so stinking much. So it had to do with the cocky humble thing. Was it humble cocky or was it cocky humble? Cocky humble, absolutely. Oh yeah. I remember what it was, because last time we talked about the 48 laws of power. And you brought that up, and it did remind me of the 48 Laws of Power. So for anybody listening, if you have not read Robert Greene's book called The 48 Laws of Power, it is incredible. If you want to understand how human beings work, like human psychology, how it functions, and it does so counterintuitively to the way that we expect things to happen. But if you learn those 48 Laws of Power, you can basically learn how to behave in ways that cause other people to react to you in a way that you want them to. And one big piece of that, there's a law that basically says never let people see you sweat. Now, it's completely different words, but the intent of it is that no matter how much you get done, no matter how great and excellent the quality of work it is that you provide, you want it to look effortless. And that goes in complete opposition of what we think every day. Is like, oh, I got to show people how busy I am. I got to show people how many things I got on my plate. I got to show people how hectic my life is, just to show them that I'm being productive. But the effect that has on people is to make them think that you're out of control. Make them think that you can't handle simple, basic things because you don't have your life in order. Whereas if you're a person who can walk in and say, oh, yeah, it's just me. I got my DJ gear, get my stuff set up. Oh, you need some help? I got you. You need some help? I got you. Oh, nothing, just hanging out over here. No big deal. And then you get on stage and you just rock it and you drive a crowd wild. And then you come off and it's right back to, that's just what I do. There's no sweat. They didn't see the hours and hours of preparation that you put in. They didn't see all of that work that you put in before the set, and they don't need to see that, right? You don't need to tell them all of that stuff you do to get prepared and bring in the entourage and all this stuff. You just show up, rock it, and then help people, and people are in awe of that. That is one of those things that makes people want to give you more power because they want to learn from you how it is that you do the things you do. It draws them to you. It draws you that audience. Before we tighten this thing up and get to the last questions, there's one final thing that I need to know because we have been talking a lot of peaches and cream. So tell me, what is the biggest challenge that you've had to overcome in your professional career, and how were you able to work through and work past that?
Wow, the biggest challenge. I feel like I'm talking to Oprah. You're asking me questions I wasn't exactly prepared for.
Well, I can't make it the exact duplicate of what we did last time. You was already ready for that.
No, but the biggest challenge I've had, honestly, I really think it is facing my own self-doubt, to be honest. And I had to do a lot of self-exploration, one for myself and two for my family. I have a lot of goals that I plan on achieving, and I have this firm belief that you have to I can't even think of the word right now, but you have to reverse engineer where you want to get to. Like, you see your vision, you see where where you want to go, and then you start breaking it down to smaller pieces so you can handle it to get to where you want to go. And one of the things that I realized is that I had a lot of self issues that I needed to work out, and they were hard conversations, but they had to be had. Just a lot of doubt from my childhood. Again, like I said, my parents were split up. I have several siblings. So when it came to getting attention or just getting the love that I felt I needed, it wasn't there. And so growing up, it was hard. And I had a lot of things that I needed to face myself. And again, it was a lot of doubt. And I had to face that. And kind of like what we were saying earlier, I had to learn that I have just as much right, if not more, than anybody else in the room when I enter. And that's just one of the hardest lessons I had to learn. And it's like anything else. It's a muscle. You go in a place once, or you do something once. It might not be perfect. It might not be exactly how you wanted it to go. But the next time you say, okay, last time I did it this way. Let me try it this way, or let me improve upon what I did last time. And it just starts building and building, building. Before you know, you go in there and just everything's automatic. It just flows. So that was one of the biggest challenges I had there, because it was self-exploration, and nobody ever wants to look in the mirror. Nobody wants to see that person. They don't want to see the flaws. They just want to go and keep going. And don't get me wrong, like I said, I'm not perfect. Like, I still have things that I need to work on, but learning how to check myself, I feel, has helped me tremendously.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Thanks for sharing that, man. And so the last question I have for you, sir, what is coming up next? And I already know the answer to this one. It's not a surprise anymore to me, but it might be surprising for the folks. So I've been looking forward to asking this question again. What is coming up big in your life, sir?
Yes, I have something that's really, really big, and I won't plaster it on social media until this podcast airs. And Gerald found out last time, I actually am going to break a Guinness World Record. I found out through an email right before me and Gerald was supposed to get on here and talk, that I am set to break the longest DJ set recorded. So I got to start practicing. It's set for October. Your boy is going to do it. And I know you guys are like, well, how long is the longest DJ set? Well, let me tell you, I hope everyone is sitting down. As of right now, the longest DJ set recorded is roughly 9 days and some change. So to make it worth it, or to make me actually break the record, I have to at least do 10 days and some change. So luckily my wife is a nurse. I am going to be seeing my my primary care doctor to get her advice on it, which I already know. She's been my doctor for years now. She's going to tell me not to do it. And I'm going to tell her, well, it's a little late. I already signed up. And then she'll give me her advice. But that is my big thing that I am about to do. So anybody want to cheer me on? I'm going to be live streaming it. Hopefully I can get news coverage in. I'm still working out the details on that. Anybody want to come down? If you're in the New York area, it will be in a little mom and pop store called Nana's in Westbury. So come on by while I'm doing it. The official dates will be posted on my website before too long. We just got to get everything, all the details finalized.
All right. Well, thank you very much, sir. And so, talking about getting in contact with you and where they'll be able to live stream and everything like that, give us your best contacts. Let's go email, let's go socials. How can people find you?
Well, if anybody wants to be mentored or counseling and stuff, well, not counseling. I'm not qualified for that. But just any type of program like that, they can please shoot me an email at djayreace@gmail, DJAY Reace, REACE @gmail.com. All of my socials, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, they all are DJay Reace. My website is www.djayreace.com. So you can find me in all those places. I'm very good with my social apps. So if you hit me up, if you want to, I post something, you want to talk to me, 9 times out of 10, you'll get a response.
Awesome. Thank you very much, sir. And with that, we have to close out with the final Buy Black podcast question. I wonder if you're going to give me the same thing you gave me last time. If you do, it's good. If something else has changed and today you got something different to say, that's fine too. It's always a surprise around here, man. But what is your number one piece of advice for the Buy Black podcast community?
I'm gonna go ahead and go with what I said last time. Just unity. And I'm not saying that we have to agree on everything, but it's time for unity. There's so many people who are ahead in this game of life, and it's because they unify. They don't agree, but they unify. They know how to work together to accomplish a goal. We haven't learned that yet, and it's time that we do. Just unify. Like I said, we don't have to agree. You can have a different philosophy, you can have a different mindset, but we got to agree. None of us are perfect, but we all are human, and it's just time to unify. That's pretty much it.
I love it. I love it. Well, thank you for joining us today, man. And for everybody listening out there in podcast land, so we actually connected first talking about Amazon business. So this man, not only is he out here mobile DJing and keeping up the family, but he has a thriving Amazon business that has started. And I wanted to kind of throw that plug in real quick and bounce back to the conversation that he and I first had. So when we first got on the phone, before we ever recorded anything, you were telling me about frustrations with starting your business. And so from that conversation, I went and I was like, oh, well, the biggest frustration that I heard from you was having to go to multiple different buildings, not knowing which forms to have, not having any clear direction from the state. And so from that conversation, I went and I found the business registration resources for all 50 states, put that page on the website, and then brought it back to you. And the reason I'm bringing that up is because seriously, when you guys connect with me, when we talk, when y'all email me, whenever we have an opportunity to unify in this community, you bring me something, you bring me a problem, you bring me anything like that, I'm going to try to figure out a way to solve it, try to figure out a way to make it better, make it easier. So, Jay, just let me know you checked out the page.
I
So
did.
tell them what you think, as compared to what it is that tell them what you had to deal with trying to go and start your business, and then what it is that you found on your page for New York, and kind of how that would have made a difference on things.
Yeah. All of my companies are LLCs. That's just what's easiest for me. But I live in New York, and New York is a very big city, and I love New York, but they tend to make things a little overcomplicated sometimes. So, and we all know, like, if you watch movies, New York isn't the most friendliest places. We're not known for being friendly and smiley faces. So, I would go into a government building, and they would tell me, "Oh, well, you need to go upstairs. Oh, you need to go across to the building across the courtyard. Oh, you need to go here. You need to drive across town." All these different things, and it wasn't a very easy experience. Like, at that time, I didn't have anyone who could really mentor me and tell me how to do it. And even if I did have a mentor at that time, I'm sure a lot of my mentors would have been like, "Google, figure it out." So, in itself was frustrating. I think for me to actually get my first business started, which was my DJ business, to get it started, I want to say that process took roughly maybe 4 to 5 months of just me researching and make sure I had the right paperwork. Again, like you were saying, me and you had the conversation, and I want to say not even 4 or 5 days, maybe a week later, you had everything up and running on your site. And you hit me up and you're like, "Yo, check it out. I have it up." I looked at it, and literally, I think I almost cried. And you can say what you want. A man's not supposed to cry. I get it, but I almost cried because it was beautiful. And because once you live through having to do something that's so stressful, anything that you see that had made it easier, even if you can't enjoy it anymore, you know there's going to be other people who do. And I just looked at it and I'm like, this is a godsend. This is just such a blessing. To all of you out there who want to start a business, or even if you've started your business, look at the page and just see how everything is just streamlined. Because even if you have a business, make sure your business is streamlined how it needs to be. Everything was just clicked by your state. It takes you right to the page, the official government page, to where the paperwork is. I mean, I clicked on New York. It took me everywhere I had to go. I even tested other states just because I just wanted to make sure it wasn't, So it's just, it was beautiful, man. Like I can never, it was awesome.
Yeah, I appreciate that. And y'all out here listening, it's like, "Oh, this dude just trying to pump up his site." Yeah, I am trying to pump up the site with information from a guy who is gonna give the truth about
it. That's another point. And I'm so glad you said it the way you just said it, because there's something that I've noticed that a lot of people, when you're doing something good and you are excited about your own business and you start talking about your business, you get all these people, "Oh, you're just talking about because it's your business." Well, yeah, why shouldn't I be proud of my own business?
Why would I build something that was subpar?
Exactly right. And then there's two spectrums. You either have the people who talk badly because you're talking good about your business, or you have the people who have a business, but they're really humble and they don't want to say too much about their business because they don't want to feel like it's like, no. I was told when I first started being a DJ, you always have to promote. Actually, no, even before that, like, back in the day, like I said, I was an actor. Even back then, you always have to promote yourself. It doesn't matter what you're doing. You have to be your best cheerleader. You have to be your number one fan. Not that other people can't like you, not that other people can't do for you, but you have to be your own cheerleader. Because if you can't tell people why they need to work with you, or why you deserve their business, why are they gonna care? So you have to be able to say, "You know what? I have this. It's this good. Work with me." I mean, clearly you might not want to say it in those words.
Hey, cocky, humble. It's got to come across that way. Absolutely. But yeah, guys, that was so that page, if you go to buyblackpodcast.com, right up in the menu, it says "Start a Business in Your State." You click on that button. It's literally a links in alphabetical order of all the 50 states. You click on your state. It goes straight to the business registration portal for your state. And another major reason why I'm wanting to promote this is because it's not like, oh, go to my website and then you can sign in, you can create an account for $4.99, you get access. No, I'm giving this stuff to you for free. So when you guys come to me and say, hey, I have a problem, this is hard for me to do. If you go to BuyBlackPodcast.com, the very first thing that you see when you scroll down from the splash page is make it easy. That's what I'm here to do. So when we connect, you say, I'm having a problem with this, I'm having a problem with that. I'm going to do everything I can to try to find the solution to that problem. And then I'm going to put it out there for people in the community to use. But the thing I need y'all to do is to tell people about it. Use it, try it, and then tell people about it so that we can start unifying and building this community. Because exactly what you said, I know that this Buy Black movement is huge all over the nation, all over the world, but it is fractured. There's so many people who are in their own little bubble trying to do this. And my idea is I want to be the hub. I want everybody to be able to come to one spot and then get to anything that they need. So as I'm solving these problems, tell people about it. Send them to me, because we have to start being able to say, anywhere out in the community having a conversation with somebody, oh, you got a problem with that? Go to BuyBlackPodcast.com. That's what I want to do. If you look at the About page on the website, the vision that I have on there, under the vision, it says, I want to replace Google, Amazon, and Walmart for you. I want to be the first in mind when you say, I have a product or a service I need, or I have a problem I need to solve. I want you to go to BuyBlackPodcast.com first. And then if you don't find it, you're going to go to those other people. And that's going to take me actually creating things of value for you, but also you guys going out there and actually spreading the word about it. So I appreciate you, Jay, sharing your experience with the tool lists out there, and, giving me a chance to advertise a little bit at the end of your show.
Oh, no problem.
All right, but that's it, guys. I really appreciate you, jumping in with me again, Jay, and this will be releasing here in 4 days. It's coming Monday, so people ain't gonna have to wait too long to learn about this Guinness Book of Records.
All right,
man.
cool.
Well, I'll let you get back to it. Thanks for joining me, and you guys, we will catch you in the next episode.